Thanks, Carl. Bye.
Just put Anika.
I'm here.
Siddhartha.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening or good morning for you. It's midnight for you and
Midnight, yeah.
after, so I apologize for the inconvenience. Greatly appreciate you getting on with us. Let me introduce my co-host Anika Pampel.
Hi.
Yes,
Hi.
And I am Anand Singh. At this time, I'd like to give you a brief moment to give you a little introduction about yourself. But before you start that, I want to give a little bit more about your background. Siddhartha is the person to bring in satellite TV into India, then cable television, then IPTV. And now Siddhartha is at the forefront of the OTT streaming networks and has a very, very interesting offering in India. My question to you, Siddhartha, on the OTT side of it is, what do you think OTT does to the media environment? How does it affect India and how does it affect the world?
Okay, so as you are aware, OTT is a relatively recent phenomena, especially in India. And I think the last 2 years post the pandemic, it has really been a vertical takeoff for this tech in India. So it has experienced exponential rate of growth in India. And you will be surprised to know that more than 350 million people in India are now interacting in media in some way or the other on the OTT platforms. That's roughly equal to the population of United States, thanks to the 900 million smartphones. So the sector is growing in India, at about 25% CAGR. It is estimated that this OTT market would be worth about 15 to 20 billion dollars in the next 7 to 8 years. So it's a phenomena now which is to be taken very seriously. And across the world, I think most people are now interacting with content one way or the other on the OTT platforms. So it becomes a method to obviously interact with content. It circumvents the large big tech stranglehold on media delivery. So in that way, I think this is a revolution happening across the world. And I think that we are very happy that we have poised the right place at the right time with our platform. Because of our experience, as you mentioned, we pioneered this in India way back in the year 2000. We were amongst the first in the world, not only in India, but to actually have the streaming servers in place. So we understand this domain very well, and I'm looking forward to doing some significant things in this domain quite soon.
That's wonderful to hear. When we talk about the OTT space and the democratization of content, what does the OTT allow a normal person to do, which is different, especially in your model? When we look on the US side at OTT networks, we look at Netflix and Hulu, which are closed networks and that are very, very carefully curated by those companies. What you are proposing is something different. Can you talk a little bit about how you have approached the concept of OTT?
Sure. We have looked at the landscape, and I'm happy to say that what we have put together on our platform is quite unique in many respects. So what we have done is we have aggregated all the content, the curated content from multiple sources, including specific contents targeted at different socio economic sectors. So, for example, speaking for India, each of the large OTT players have an app which is specific to their content. So you would have a Disney Hotstar would be having content related to Disney Hotstar. A Woot would be having Viacom content, a Sony would be having content from Sony. But what we have done is that we have brought together on an aggregation content from multiple sources, including all these players which we spoke about, right? And we have made a platform where all this is available for any viewer, and that is unique in many respects. So that we are calling it the super app. So it is all the content available in just one simple user friendly platform.
If I may do a follow-up question on that, speaking about the democratization, how does it differ for a normal consumer like myself if I want to create some content to TikTok, to Snapchat, to any of those? Because on the one side, as you said, you have Sony, you have Netflix, you have all that already curated content. And on the other side, you have TikTok, Snapchat. Anybody can upload something. What's the difference?
So here it is not limited by time. When TikTok and Instagram and all have very strict rules and regulations about what and the time duration and other things, and they have their own AI engines which determine who watches what and other things. So we are right now. You mentioned democratization. So this is truly a platform which has open-ended rules. So it's anybody can put their user-generated content. Uh, we put any type of content we want targeted at specific sectors across the board, and this facility is not available with the other players. So that's a very important thing which you mentioned, that it does allow a wide array of people to access and distribute content and to watch content.
Wonderful. So as we look at the future, what do you think OTT does to traditional media, to movie theaters, to all of these things? We have seen in the US, for instance, the simul release of movies during the pandemic on HBO or other platforms, where you've had a movie do 350 million views on a weekend, which is quite amazing numbers compared to your normal theater going audiences.
But absolutely, this is a sea change. This is a transformational technology, and OTT is here to stay. I mean, this is the future as the tech progresses into 4G and 5G. So you would have 4K content available on the OTT as well, and people are going to start in be at home and watch all these movies. I mean, obviously there will be a certain number of people who would like to go to a traditional theater, but I think you have to understand that the traditional cable television as we know it, traditional broadcast networks as we know it, they are all experiencing a complete change. This is a tsunami of tech which is now engulfing, especially with the lockdown. People are staying at home and using this tech to watch more and more content. I think it's one of the greatest opportunities in this digital video. I mean, I looked at some of the, just to share with you, in Akamai and on Google, they have these statistics of the amount of video consumed by people. So it has exponentially increased. You're talking about a 10,000 times increase in the traffic on video across the world. So
that is an
you
amazing
can't
thing.
compare this with at any other time in the history of this media business. This is transformational.
Yeah. So talking about the future, obviously, and specifically to India, one of the challenges has been the infrastructure. And infrastructure seems to be the limiting factor, whether it comes to 5G or it comes to streaming. What are your thoughts on infrastructure, and what are you doing in that space?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Look, right now, 4G is ubiquitous, almost covers 90% of the country. But the last mile delivery is where it's very interesting out here in India, because you have legacy copper coax across the country. So you have about 120 million homes connected to copper, and this represents a very big opportunity, because we are looking at converting that last mile copper to fiber. And if we can do that, then obviously we are able to deliver very high speed internet and therefore OTT services to millions of homes across the country. This is truly a great opportunity. And we are working very closely with cable operators across the country. We have signed contracts actually with about 5,000 multi-system operators across the country. So, in fact, we would be doing a significant raise internationally to take care of this opportunity, where the believe it or not, the return on investment is about 5 to 7% a month. You, you can't find a more profitable business than this one.
Talking about OTT and profitability, what do you how does this compare now to the traditional media models? Does OTT significantly increase revenue opportunities for content providers?
Absolutely, because you see here, up till now, the traditional methods of distributing content were advertisement based, whereas now the entire shift is going to be on subscription based. So, there it leaves very little to chance, because you have a bedrock of subscription revenue coming in, and then on top of that, you can build, your advertising revenue. And you must understand the market has got completely fragmented. So therefore, the other opportunity is to get some AI engines, get some large data crunching capabilities to find out who is watching what at what time. And we are talking of billions and billions of people. This is a very interesting opportunity.
So when we talk about opportunities for content, one of the challenges in content has always been that only about anywhere between 4 and 5% of all available content is ever in use. How does the OTT network allow additional content viewing capabilities because of your technology platform?
So you have SVOD and you have VOD and you have a lot of archiving capabilities on the cloud. So, there's a whole lot of content available for people to, watch at their leisure whenever they want. And talking about you had mentioned to me about the opportunities. It occurs to me that, look, once you have an OTT connection in your house or in whichever facility, you are talking about telemedicine, which gets enabled. You're talking about distance learning. You're talking about working from home. You're talking about connecting people who are very well qualified, but who do not have an opportunity to work in a different place. They can get employment. So it's a revolutionary tech, in a manner of speaking, and it can change the socio-economic fabric of a country such as India.
So when you're talking about availability of this kind of content, so then you're also talking about mass education. You're talking about mass
Absolutely,
delivery of.
distance learning. Absolutely.
So this would obviously have a great impact on countries where educational services may be fragmented, etc.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so what do you think if you were to look ahead today, and you were to look at another 10 years to go by, what is your prediction?
So, well, I feel that the majority of the people who have internet and high-speed internet will all get connected to this. So, I mean, OTT is a phrase, right, over the top. So, using internet to deliver services, whether it's entertainment or any other service, I think this will become a given. It will be a foregone conclusion. So, the opportunities are endless. The tech is just now happening. The wave is now rising, and I think we, speaking for our own organization, we find ourselves at the right place at the right time. This is going to experience exponential growth, both in terms of service. Because look, you have IoT, Internet of Things, you have distance learning, you have telemedicine. All these things ultimately require high-speed connectivity and a platform to deliver these services. And this is what OTT provides.
Wonderful. Looking at the global picture, there are obviously, many challenges when it comes to traditional OTT net, even the large current OTT networks delivering specific content in certain geographies. How do you solve this problem? So if, for instance, you have a population that you want to target in the UK versus a population you want to target in the US versus India, what advantage does OTT networks provide for you?
So yeah, so that's a good question. So speaking about our own country, for example, we have upwards of 7 million people in the United States who would probably want to access similar content which we have here, and this affords an excellent opportunity to do that because we have the tech, we have extremely evolved content delivery networks, encircling the world. I mean, there are so many of them available. So we are able to deliver, very high quality content to United States. In fact, right now, our platform is live in America, right? So our launching is imminent. So we can target the entire diaspora of South Asians. And similarly, going down phase one, phase two, we can look at targeting this for Latinos. We can do that for Koreans and different ethnic minorities, and we can target different content segments for different people. But right now, we will be doing it for the South Asian population in the United States and Canada.
Now, looking at my co-host Anika, who is a young producer of content, an actress, a script writer.
Wow.
What advantage does this provide for someone like her who may have an indie production?
Okay, so look, I mean, somebody like her can look. We would love to have somebody produce some web series, web content, socially relevant content. It could be comedy, it could be anything. It could be social relevant content in the United States. And imagine that the people, such a huge market in India, they would love to watch that content out here.
So basically, that you're providing an alternative platform for young filmmakers and young content producers.
Is there a monetization in that for the content creator from the start, or is it just an additional distribution platform such as YouTube? YouTube, as you know, only monetizes starting at a minimum level. So how does that work for you?
So you can set up your own pricing. That's the beauty of this. You see, right now in India, we're negotiating with several dozen producers who have content which they can't put on Netflix or Amazon Prime because of obviously they don't cater to all the content, right? And it's difficult to get on board Netflix. So now we offer them that opportunity. They come to us and they say, look, we put our film on your platform. We decide the charges which somebody would pay. They do the marketing. We help them do the marketing, and on the downloads they make the money. And these guys are going to recover their money immediately. You see, this is the new paradigm. This is the new paradigm. And once we have numbers, you are talking about a lot of content getting produced and getting monetized on these platforms. So and you can have targeted content. You don't have to have general content, which everybody watches. Not necessarily. You can have content specifically targeted for, very special interest groups.
Yeah. So basically, you're creating another revenue stream for young independent players that are coming into the market, or even existing indie films, etc., or
Absolutely.
archived indie films that never really made it to market.
Absolutely.
There's so much content that's created, yet we only see a very small percentage of the content that is created.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We can bring all of that online. We can monetize it right away.
Okay. When you look at the regulatory environments around for censorship, for these areas, what advantage does an OTT network provide for you?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
When it comes to regulatory environments such as censorship, what does OTT network provide as an advantage?
So see, I mean, it's very regulated in India right now. So we would have to adhere to the rules and regulations in India. However, if somebody is there, for example, in the United States, and they wanted to stream something, right? So then in that case, using various technologies such as virtual private networks, that content could be made available to people over here, theoretically, without any censorship. And that is, I think, a very important feature of this tech. not only for India, I would say it is for all the countries, especially in highly controlled environments.
So once again, coming to the future, when OTT first started, not much adoption. Today, it's an exponential adoption, as you said. Where do you think this goes from here?
It goes all the way. This is this is going to engulf the whole world. I mean, everybody is going to have connectivity, and it's all going to be the person who is more creative, who's got more ideas, who can make. It's all going to become a content game. It's no longer a tech game now. So it's about content and how you know position the content, how you monetize the content, and there will be n number of distribution platforms such as ours. But it's like creating a brand. It's like creating trust, and creating all the various types of contents available, and you understand what I'm saying as compared to the big tech companies. So this is where it is going. It's going to definitely create a level playing field.
Have you personally created content for it?
Well, see, our idea is that once we launch, we have lots of plans to create content, lots
So
of plans.
So you are moving into the space that, YouTube has their own studios, Redbox has their own studios.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have our own content. We'll create our own content. In fact, you would be interested to know that I have invested in a company which has the largest installed base of editing studios in Mumbai. Mumbai, as you know, is the hub of Bollywood. We produce the largest number of movies in the world, and so we have the infrastructure. Right now, we are using that infrastructure for the large companies. We do work for Netflix, Amazon, and other people. But when we start our own production, which obviously we will do when we sort of launch our services. So, in fact, on January 26th, we are going live with the Indian government's telco called BSNL, which is the biggest government telco. So we are getting on that telco for the last mile delivery.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. I think that when we look at the future, players such as yourself who have shown a consistent want for new technologies, for bringing in new technologies into India and around the world, it has certainly been a very, very interesting journey. And I think that this journey continues as long as we have visionaries and leaders such as yourself at the helm. But tell me, on the flip side of that, we have a lot of the young kids that are venturing into this space, that are venturing into technologies, that are evolving platforms, that are evolving new ways of consuming content. Does OTT incorporate and or plan to bring in all these other kinds of platforms that are being developed?
So that's a very good idea. Actually, we need to check on all these platforms, and if we find that there's the requisite talent, and they have the vision and the value systems which we want to promote, then we can create a worldwide network of such platforms, and that can become very powerful. In fact, that idea is there very much in our minds. We would like to create a network of all such platforms so that we can have strength in numbers. You will be surprised that the numbers are very big, so we can take on the established players quite easily.
Terrific. If you were to be given a wish list today of saying, this is what the future should look like, what is your wish list?
So the wish list is clearly, the control should not be in the hands of 3 or 4 companies. They should not control and dictate who will consume which content on planet Earth. We have 7 billion people out here with a lot of creativity, with a lot of talent. So I think we need to have lesser control, lesser monopolistic companies, involved in this field, and we should have more and more people independently creating their own niche content delivery networks such as ours. And I think this is a very important point. And I'm sure you will agree that the more people, more platforms like this, it will help everybody.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for your time and greatly appreciate the opportunity to have a discussion with you. I have a parting question from the audience. And the question is, you yourself have gone through a personal journey of bringing in different technologies, different companies, different platforms into India. In this particular time, do you think that this is the best option for the world?
Well, if you feel you are talking about it from the business angle, from the commercial angle, or from the ethical and moral angle?
Ethical and moral this time.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I will reiterate that this is absolutely the right time, because we need platforms and dissemination, technologies to take the right message, the right information, uncensored information to more and more people. I think this is the duty of every single citizen, because we are all getting controlled news, edited news, of special interest across the world. So I think this you use the word democratization. I think this is a very good word, and this should define the fact that this should be promoted. This tech should be promoted more and more across the world.
Okay, one last question that's come up. When you talk about OTT networks and the content delivery that you're doing, is it the right thing to do for young adults? How do you prevent addiction or prevent any kind of abuse in the system?
That's a great question, and this is addictive. I'm afraid, so I think the way to do it is probably to put the right kind of programming to be made available to people, and in fact alert them about the dangers of interacting too much, with this the content which is streamed, thousands and thousands of channels and millions of hours of content. So it's highly addictive. You're right. I mean, what we will do is probably we will educate the people that you don't have to sit and watch this 24 hours a day. You don't have to do binge watching. You can do other things in life.
One last question for you. There's been a general erosion of trust for news, for content in general. How would you suggest that can be fixed? Not necessarily related to the OTT network, but in general.
So look, there are AI engines, there are fact-checking technologies available, and if there is any significant deviation from the truth, I think we would be using those platforms to make sure that we don't deliver any pernicious or detrimental news or information to people. Because once we have millions and millions of subscribers, I guess this becomes our responsibility, and we will take it very seriously.
Wonderful. Again, I thank you so much for your time. It's been very informative. Greatly appreciate you joining us. And again, apologies about the lateness of the hour.
Absolutely. I'm wide awake now. So I will call somebody on Mars. I'm trying to reach some aliens now.
There you go. Well, just to let you know, this was supposed to be an outside event here in sunny California, but we decided that we'd bring a little bit of Davos, Switzerland here. So we have rain and some clouds, just to make it a little bit more homey.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
We look forward to next year in Davos.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and have a nice day. Thank you, Anika. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you.